will be graduating in a few months, and I need to find a position to go into. So that's why I thought I'd check out what companies are here and and see what my opportunities are. When I was little, it was just all about enjoying what I do for life. But now you have to think about some other things like salary, location, the other quality of life.
The important factor for me was to find something stable, a stable job, and to do something that I really liked doing in my whole life.
When I think about it, my parents sacrificed a lot to be here, and since I'm second generation. So not only am I doing what I want to do, I'm also helping them achieve what they wanted. As they had to immigrate here, they had to sacrifice their life.
During the early part of the second generation growing up, they had a hard time finding employment. Not only were there discriminatory practices, but it was the Depression in the mid-30s. So it was hard for them to get employment, even though education was pushed by the parents.
I think my parents, because when they came over here and they immigrated to this country, they worked really hard, sometimes working 2 or 3 jobs at a time. Yes, they wanted me to do what I wanted that would make me happy, but they also wanted me to pick a career choice where I wouldn't have to struggle the same way that they did. And they wanted me to be a professional, whether it be a lawyer or a doctor or something like that.
My mother, from when I was very young, dreamt that I would be some sort of a Nobel Prize-winning medical doctor. And I heard that many times as I was growing up.
I really don't want to follow the Korean culture that you have to study hard and you have to succeed and you have to be famous. You have to leave your name on the book of history. I don't want to do that, really.
They want us to be successful, but in second generation in America, we emphasize you're only successful when you do the things that you love. Opposed to Korean first generations, they emphasize you're going to be successful if you go to good school and you do a career that makes a lot of money. So being a doctor, being a lawyer, working for the government. I mean, that's what they think is successful, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that's what the main difference between first generation and second generation thinking is.
Test.
My dream is to change the world through music, but I know at the same time music is not the most stable field, just financially speaking. One day I want to be able to provide for my family without having to worry about, can my kids eat today, or whatever it may be. So I also am very fascinated and interested in the field of medicine and just the prospect of healing, because I feel that music can heal people, and medicine obviously does too. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing in 2 different outlets. Korean parents, and I think Asian parents in general, they, I always have this talk with my mom, how they only see 2 careers. They see law and medicine. You either become a lawyer or a doctor. There's nothing else, But on the flip side, I understand where they're coming from and saying, the reason why Korean parents say this is because it's that stable of a field. So I totally understand. It makes total sense. But I think just coming to America, and I know our parents, they went through a lot just being the first generation, just seeing their parents struggle and work doing dry cleaners and liquor stores and whatever it may be. So they want the best for their children. They came here with hopes of bringing a better future for future generations.
Hello, good citizens. Welcome to Hollywood, California, land of the stars.
You guys fucking out of your minds? What do you mean? We have Mondays down.
At first, I wanted to be an actor, and the acting thing didn't work out, so I was in the Marine Corps for 4.5 years, and I thought I could do some stunts. And that didn't work out, but I felt, you know, had to be part of Hollywood. I decided to start a company called Combat Casting. You know, when growing up, I didn't think I was going to be a producer or a casting director, you know? Of course, my mom wanted me to be a doctor or architect, and I think we're living in an era now where you know, back 10, 20 years ago, you can only be a doctor or a lawyer or maybe an architect, you know, and that's the only thing that your parents wanted you to be. Growing up, I wasn't like the perfect kid. I was always getting into trouble. So my parents were always worried about me. And after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I told them that, hey, I'm gonna be an actor, you know, they're like, yeah, 미쳤어, you know?
When I told my mom, I said, hey mom, guess what? I got turntables and I'm starting to DJ. She goes, what? What are you doing? She says, no DJ, no club, no boy, no alcohol, no cigarettes. A lot of people are brainwashed by their parents to become a doctor, lawyer, accountant, CEO, you know, and we're brainwashed that we gotta go to school, then after school, college, after college, get your master's, then you go into the workforce, then you meet a nice guy, you get married, have kids, right? It was kind of tough because a lot of the owners don't want to hire, like, oh, you know, what does an Asian girl know about hip-hop, you know, because that's what I started. I started off spinning hip-hop.
In the first 2 years, it was really, really tough. And there was times where I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. You know, I would eat ramen noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know. She's rep by a company, girls and African-American girls to play opposite. It's go to IMDb and just like look them up. Just, I don't care, you figure out a way, but just figure out a way. The harder you work, the faster you go up. And I work my butt off. You know, I've done a lot of 18, 19, 20-hour days, and I've worked on a lot of free projects. I've done a lot of interning, and I've done a lot of networking, you know.
I was working part-time at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club, and I was there as a hostess, so I told people where to sit. I told the owner of the Laugh Factory, hey, how come you don't have DJs on other nights? And I could DJ for you, you know, on the other nights, and you could just pay me the same wage as a hostess. And surprisingly, the owner said, okay, go ahead.
And then they don't even care if it has a Chinese name or Korean name, whatever. They just look at that, hey, that name is a household name. That, like, whenever we hire David Kang, we know we're going to get the best talent. We know that our job is going to be done. You know, we don't have to worry about it. Koreans always wanted their kids to be a doctor, a lawyer, you know. Those are the only two things acceptable, you know, like you have to be a doctor or a lawyer, you know. But now I think being in the entertainment industry, you know, there's a lot of money to be made in the entertainment industry, so it's one of those industries where now, oh, it's acceptable for a kid, you know, to want to be an actor.
Got my big break with Mamma Mia on Broadway. That was my first Broadway job. Doing the audition circuit really hard, and again, it's hard for a Korean American, an Asian American, because there's not much for us, but I got to be a featured ensemble member, so I had lines in the show, so it was great representing, you know, Korean people would come see the show and they'd be like, oh my God, there's a Korean person on stage. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
A couple editions ago, we invited you to send us your questions and comments to pulse@playstation.sony.com. Our pick from the inbox comes from Matt, who wrote, but first up is the rough and tumble world of Mafia 2.
Certainly a lot of people have given me comments like, wow, I'm proud that you're Korean because, you know, you have this spot with Sony and PlayStation, and I love PlayStation, you know, and I've definitely gotten a lot of encouraging comments like that.
Okay, rolling. Is that comfy? Does it feel a little weird?
Yeah, it's weird.
It feels weird?
Hey guys, welcome to this edition of Pulse presented by the PlayStation Network. We've got the August Top 10 downloads.
If you want to work in the entertainment industry, not because you want to be recognized, but if you just want to work, if you want to understand that you can be versatile, then you have to learn to be open and adapting, right? And so since they understand that, and since they perhaps have come from, you know, more diverse attitudes and environments, I see that as a part of their personality. The longer that our immigrant parents stay here, they understand that there's more opportunities and that the way you really affect people, if that's your goal, if you want to make it your life to actually affect people and have yourself heard, then the way to do that is through pop culture. It's through entertainment and arts and media.
I don't know if you hear that. There you go now, shining just as bright.
I've always had a passion for it ever since I was really, really little, practically since I was born. I love to entertain and perform. I was always a performer. I love to sing, I love to dance, I love to act. And so one day when I was about like 10 years old, I asked my mom, "Mom, get me an agent." And so she was kind of against it at first, but then she realized how much passion I had for performing. So she went around the web and she tries to find like a management for me, and then from then on, I'm right here. It's such a wonderful feeling to me. I love to show up in front of people and use whatever I can do, like my talent and my passion to put smiles on people's faces and to reach out to people's hearts. So being Korean American and being where I am, I feel really, really proud. And even though I'm not completely established yet, I'm still on my journey. I feel very blessed and very, very proud. And people tell me a lot, like, "Oh, you're Korean. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm Korean too." It's like.
Pregnant women should not watch.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time for someone to actually produce these videos, but they do it because they love what they do, because they love the idea, or they love the content, and because people want to be creative, people want to express their creativity.